The neon lights reflected on the low clouds that enveloped Manhattan like a pink and blue cotton blanket, while the pneumatic elevator climbed through the final floors of the Empire State Building toward the boarding platform. It was Friday, September 23, 2445, and I was about to step foot for the first time in the Stardust Lounge, the most famous floating nightclub in New York, suspended 3,000 meters above the city that never sleeps. The elevator operator, an elderly man in a golden uniform who seemed to have stepped directly out of the 1970s, adjusted the controls with precise movements. "First time at the Stardust, young man?" he asked, his voice carrying that New York accent that had become almost extinct in the younger generations. "First time," I confirmed, smoothing the blue velvet jacket I had rented especially for the occasion. My grandmother always said that certain experiences required the right outfit, and a night at the Stardust definitely qualified. "Ah, then you're in luck. Tonight is 2380's revival night. They'll play all the classics," he winked and whispered. "And they say Luna Starlight herself is going to make a special appearance." My heart raced. Luna Starlight had been the biggest star of space disco music in the 2380s, mysteriously disappearing at the height of her career. Her music still played on retro radio stations, but no one had seen her for decades. The elevator stopped with a gentle ding, and the doors opened to reveal the boarding platform. Through the panoramic windows, I could see the floating nightclub for the first time, a diamond-shaped crystalline structure that slowly rotated in the air, its mirrored surfaces reflecting the city lights below like a giant kaleidoscope. "Attention, passengers. Transport to the Stardust Lounge will depart in 2 minutes. Please keep your access passes visible and prepare for the grooviest experience of the 25th century." The announcer's voice echoed through the speakers with that exaggerated energy typical of disco-era DJs. I showed my holographic pass to the scanner and entered the transport capsule, a small transparent vehicle that looked more like a giant soap bubble. Other passengers were already seated, an elderly couple dressed in shiny 2380s clothing, a group of young people with futuristic afro hairstyles, and a lonely middle-aged woman who looked out the window with a melancholic expression. The capsule detached from the platform and began floating toward the nightclub. The sensation was indescribable, like flying in a dream, with the city stretching infinitely below us, its lights forming terrestrial constellations that rivaled the stars in the sky. "First time?" the lonely woman asked, noticing my fascinated expression. "Is it that obvious?" I laughed, settling into the seat next to her. "Everyone looks like that the first time. My name is Diane." She extended her hand, and I noticed she wore vintage bracelets that chimed softly. "I've been coming here for a long time." "Marcus," I introduced myself. "Do you know the place well?" Diane smiled, but there was something sad in her eyes. "Better than I'd like to admit. This place has a way of pulling you back, you know? As if it keeps pieces of your soul between the lights and the music." Before I could ask what she meant, the capsule gently docked at the nightclub entrance. The doors opened and we were greeted by a wave of music, colorful lights, and the unmistakable aroma of smoke machines mixed with vintage perfumes. The interior of the Stardust Lounge was even more impressive than I had imagined. The floor was made of transparent crystal, allowing a complete view of the city below, while strobe lights created hypnotic patterns on the mirrored walls. The central dance floor was packed with people moving to the rhythm of Luna Starlight's Cosmic Dancer, their bodies creating silhouettes against the lights that pulsed in sync with the beat. "Welcome to the Stardust Lounge," shouted the DJ from his suspended booth, which seemed to float in the air without any visible support. "Tonight is special, folks. We have a surprise that will make you travel through time. But first, how about leaving your comments in our holographic guest book? We want to know what you're feeling on this magical night." Diane guided me to the bar, where a robotic bartender with the appearance of a 2380s android prepared drinks that glowed and changed colors. 2 cosmic martinis, she ordered, and the robot began mixing the ingredients with elaborate dance movements. "You seem to know all the secrets of this place," I commented, watching how she moved with familiarity through the environment. "Secrets ... she repeated, taking the drink that glowed in shades of blue and purple. "This place is made of secrets, Marcus. Every mirror, every light, every musical note holds a story." We drank in silence for a few moments, watching the dancers on the floor. There was something hypnotic about the way they moved, as if they were in a trance, lost in the music and lights. Suddenly, the music stopped and the lights concentrated on a single point in the center of the floor. "Ladies and gentlemen," the DJ's voice echoed through the environment, "prepare for a journey through time." Directly from the golden years of space disco, the legend you thought was lost forever. Luna Starlight. A beam of light descended from the ceiling and, like magic, a female figure materialized in the center of the floor. It was her, Luna Starlight, exactly as in the old holographic recordings, with her wavy silver hair, dress that seemed made of liquid stars, and that smile that had conquered entire galaxies. But there was something strange. She seemed translucent, as if made of the same substance as the light surrounding her. "My God," I whispered, "is she really here?" Diane didn't answer. When I turned to look at her, I saw tears streaming down her face. Luna began singing Midnight on Saturn, her voice filling every corner of the nightclub with a sweet melancholy that made the heart ache. People on the floor stopped dancing and simply watched, mesmerized, as if witnessing something sacred. "She's not really here," Diane finally whispered. "It's a projection, a memory captured and reproduced infinitely." "How do you know?" Diane turned to me, and for the first time I noticed that her eyes had the same silver color as Luna Starlight's. "Because I am her, Marcus, or was, or I don't know what I am anymore." My drink slipped from my hand and shattered on the floor, but the sound was muffled by the music. "That's impossible. Luna Starlight disappeared decades ago." I did disappear. On a night like this 40 years ago, I was here singing when something happened. The lights, the music, the very structure of the nightclub, everything merged with me. Or I merged with everything. She looked at her own hands, which seemed slightly transparent under the strobe lights. Since then, I exist between 2 worlds. I'm real enough to talk to you, but not enough to leave this place. Luna's performance ended and she disappeared as suddenly as she had appeared. The normal music returned and people resumed their dancing as if nothing had happened. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked, still trying to process what I had heard. "Because you remind me of someone I knew a long time ago. Someone who also came here looking for magic and found more than they expected." Diane, or Luna, or whoever she was, smiled sadly. "And because I need someone to know the truth, for someone to remember." We spent the rest of the night talking about music, about lost and found dreams, about the strange nature of time and memory. She told me stories from the old days when space disco was new and the future seemed infinitely bright. I talked about my life, my fears, my search for something I didn't even know how to name. When the first lights of dawn began to appear on the horizon, Dan stood up. "It's time for you to go, Marcus. The stardust only exists completely during the night. During the day, it's just an empty structure floating in the sky. And you? What happens to you?" "I remain. I always remain. Keeping the memories, keeping the music alive." She touched my face gently, and her hand felt like warm light. "But now you also carry a piece of this. Share these stories, Marcus. Pass on the magic. That's how legends survive." The return capsule was waiting for me, and as I moved away from the floating nightclub, I saw Diane, or Luna, waving from the window. But when I blinked, she had disappeared, leaving only the reflection of the city lights on the mirrored surfaces. Back in my apartment, I tried to sleep, but the images from the night kept spinning in my mind like a scratched record. I picked up my personal communicator and began writing a message to my friends, telling them about the extraordinary experience I had lived. Some stories, I realized, need to be shared, passed on like echoes of a song that should never stop playing. Weeks passed, and I found myself returning to the Empire State Building several times, looking up toward the Stardust Lounge. During the day, as Diane had said, it looked like just an empty glass structure. But sometimes, when the sun set and the first city lights began to flicker, I could swear I saw a solitary figure dancing behind the mirrored windows. I never returned to the Stardust. Not because I didn't want to, but because some experiences are too perfect to be repeated. Instead, I carry with me the memory of that night, the lights, the music, the mystery of Diane Luna, and the feeling of having touched for a few hours something greater than myself. Sometimes, when I hear Midnight on Saturn playing on retro radio stations, I close my eyes and can feel the crystal floor under my feet, see the city stretching infinitely below, and remember that somewhere, floating between the clouds and the stars, the music never stops playing. Did you enjoy this fascinating story? Then don't forget to follow to keep up with the next ones. By the way, an even better story is appearing on your screen right now. Click on it, and I'll meet you there.